How's it going, YouTube? We're bringing you guys another Digimon match today. Today it'll be the finals game of the Steel Fox Locals. On the left, we are going to have Jesmon, and on the right, we are going to have the yellow hybrid with the purple base. These are two decks that the Jesmon you see splash up every now and then, but you do have the yellow hybrid showing up pretty consistently. There's quite a few players at my locals, but into the game, we'll have the yellow hybrid player, I believe, loses the die roll, so they will have to go first, or wins the die roll, so they will have to go first, playing out the TK after hatching and evolving into the Gazimon, deciding to pick up a Zoe, so that way they can basically have Zoe into another hybrid, more than likely, since they've already seen their security with TK. So here on the red player's side, there is a little bit of a glare, but that is BT7 Huckmon, followed by Starter Deck Greymon, followed by the Savior Huckmon, so pretty much set up. I don't know if they have a Jesmon in hand at this point, but if they have any searchers, they can pretty easily get to it. It's nice to have that first general stack built up, and here the yellow player's playing against Jess, so they're probably expecting to see something, see lower security, so it's good to set up the TK Kari, and then the red player just follows it back up with the tie, so they have their memory tamer so they can go into Jess whenever they want to. Here at 3, remember, the yellow player plays Zoe, which is kind of what I was expecting him to do earlier, but it's good to get that TK Kari set up once you know you're playing Jesmon, and here the Zoe does grab the Zephyrmon, so knowing what's in their security, they can kind of hopefully play around a few things. Zoe is a very good thing for the yellow hybrid against Jesmon because it does buff the security, which can actually come up in this matchup. And here they play a Kari going over, passing their opponent back over to 3 memory, and here it looks like they don't have the Jesmon. They do have the Jesmon, but set up a second tie just to kind of have the body on board, or the extra security tags really going pushing for that OTK. So here the yellow player just goes and plays the Bokomon, filtering a little bit, finding another TK Kari and a Jet Sylphimon. We do see the Dynasmon go to the bottom of the deck, which is usually good for an OTK deck like this. I mean, normally if they're going to get a bunch of checks in, they can just finish it up, but it's good to kind of see that go to the bottom of the deck for the red player. And here they evolve the Zoe into the Zephyrmon, getting 6k DP to the security. So the security is getting kind of big, which is even hard for Jesmon to get over, because Jesmon can usually get over 15k, but can't quite get over anything bigger than 16 or 17k. And here, they go ahead and play down another Bokomon, filtering a little bit more, finding another hybrid. So at this point, the yellow's kind of getting a pretty large board. We know they have several hybrids in hand and then plenty of tamers on board. My guess is at this point, the red player is missing any of their sistermons to extend their plays, get the benefits from the Jesmon. So here they're just playing 2 Huckmons, searching a little bit more. They do find a sistermon on the second search. On the first search, only finding a Huckmon and a Savior Huckmon. So here, now that they have some pieces, I'm guessing red's probably going to try to do something, but with the TK and Kari on the field and that Kari just sitting back in the back, it is kind of a rough situation for the red player, because if they try to play Seal when they swing in with the Jesmon that we know they have in hand, then the Gazi stops the memory gain. So even if they do have a Seal, which from the looks of it they only have the Blanc, the Kari will stop their turn the second they swing in, because they can't really deal with the Gazimon because they do have Starter Deck Greymon in the sources. So here we do in fact see them go ahead and swing in with the Jesmon, playing the Blanc, drawing a card off the Blanc effect, activating the effect of Huckmon to search a little bit more. I think that's a little bit of a misplay. You probably wanted to try to find something else to search, so you probably would have wanted to use the Huckmon effect first, search a little bit more, see if you could find another one, but at the same time, Seal being canceled by the Gazimon is really rough. So here the Jesmon does go ahead and get to swing in 3 checks, but again, with a Zephyrmon and a Zoe on field, it is hard to get over a Dynasmon coming out of security with plus 6k, so that puts him at 18k. Really hard for the red player, for Jesmon, to deal with even at this point. And here, passing over the memory to 7 with the TK Karis on field and the Kari and the 2 Bokomons, they are able to gain memory when they digivolve in the Kazemon, and they have plenty of swings on board. Evolving up, swinging in with the Bokomon. Kazemon dies, Bokomon of course usually dies, Gazimon swings in for the last check, and here they just digivolve into a hybrid 4-game, hitting Jesmon with the OTK, showing how strong Kari can be, especially against decks like Jesmon. So I want to go ahead and mention that we are allowing sideboards, so you can see a few sideboard techs in each player's hand here. You see a Delicate Plan, Gigastorm in one. Here you see a Holy Flame in the other, in the yellow hybrid player's hand. So just as a side note, until the further notice, my locals is still running that. So here the yellow player starts off with a Zoe, decides not to take anything. I didn't quite see what's in there. I'm not sure if there was any targets, but they do decide not to take anything, and the passing the red memory over to 3. Here they digivolve into a Huckmon, into a Greymon, into a Savior. Pretty pretty strong stack. It's good to get that stack set up. You can see they even have the tie in hand, so they're kind of prepped for future turns. Without a memory tamer, it's kind of very dangerous for their opponent, but it looks like they are missing a Jesmon. So here they decide to play the tie to go gain a little bit more advantage by having the memory to go into a Jesmon if they can get into the next turn. Passing the opponent over, they will decide to go ahead and play the reinforced memory boost to gain, so they have some memory gain for future turns and also to get that little bit extra recovery against the Jesmon. Now here's we could see they were missing the Jesmon in hand, but they do decide to get it off of the Huckmon, and they do decide to go ahead and Digivolve back in Raising. So now at this point, unless they can get a memory tamer on field, yellow's not really looking in the best spot because they have Jesmon. They can stop the memory gain from the Kari on the security check, and they do have quite the stack. So here the yellow player does decide to go ahead, do the smartest thing in my opinion, Digivolving the Zoe up into a Zephyrmon up into a Jet Sylphimon, effectively giving the security 8 or plus 6,000 DP. Very hard thing again for Jesmon to deal with. If they don't have something like a seal in hand, it is really hard to get over that DP threshold. And here they do decide to promote, swinging in. They do this time activate the effect of Huckmon first, seeing 2 Jesmon go to the bottom of the deck. So if this doesn't live the checks, we have a lot of issues here to deal with. And here they do have the Sistermon to play, getting a little bit more cycle with the draw, restanding off of the effect, and they're checking 3 checks. Here hitting a TK Kari, second check hitting a Zoe, decide not to take off of the Zoe again or have no targets, either one, it is an optional effect. And then here hitting the Holy Flame, living, but then all of his Digimon get minus security attack plus or minus security attack 1. So the Jesmon can technically still swing in for 2 checks. Now, here they do decide to go ahead and swing, playing the Blanc Awakened, hitting to another Zoe, and this time hitting into the Dynasmon again. Jesmon only has, I think at this point with the piercing, plus 16k, so 18k does take it out, and none of the rest of the bodies can swing in, although I believe both of the Blanc were played this turn. So at this point, you're kind of struggling here. You don't really want to pass your opponent over to too much memory. They did lose their OTK. They do have plenty of swings on board, so they just play in with the Gaussmon, keep them from going to another Jet Sylphy, passing the opponent over to 2 because of the TK Kari effect. And here they will pop the memory boost, going to 6, playing the Schwarz with 5 Tamers and or Hybrids on the field. They are able to clear out the board. Now here's a mistake that I believe the yellow player or the red player does. They off of the deletion effect of the Sistermon Blanc, they take a Blanc and not a Jesmon. Now we know they've bottom decked 2 Jesmons, so in this situation, instead of taking the Jesmon back with 2 on the bottom of the deck, they do take the Blanc back. I'm guessing they don't have any other Sistermon in hand, but when you have something like a Huckmon in hand, you can just play out the Huckmon to search a little bit more to find more pieces, and at this point you only have 1 Jesmon left. So I felt like the safer play here was to go ahead and grab the Jesmon back, but I digress. They go ahead, they go back up into a Bow Huckmon in the Raising, I believe, playing the Huckmon and searching, grabbing a few more pieces. Again, another Sistermon in those. So on the yellow player's turn, they will play the Bokomon, grabbing the Zephyr and the Kari. It's always good to have more Karis, but I don't really know if they're going to try to capitalize on playing the Kari. Maybe just try to get a little bit more recovery. Here you do see the Jet Sylphy, and here it does come down. They will draw, gain the recovery off of it, swing in with the Jet Sylphimon, deleting the Huckmon with the 2 TK Karis, giving the 1,000 each to the Huckmon. Swinging in, it does die to an Omnimon, but you're really not worried about that. You're more so worried just to get some more bodies off the field and check a little bit of extra security. They are going to be below the security threshold of their opponent, so they will still get the benefit of TK Kari. They go ahead, pass the turn over to the opponent at 4 whenever they play the TK, or I'm sorry, to 3 whenever they play the TK, grabbing a Zephyrmon. And here, the red player does decide to push up, Digivolving the Bow into the Savior Huckmon, so they will get to play the Sistermon. Here they don't have the Sistermon in trash. They did grab it. Again, another reason why I don't think you should have grabbed the Sistermon from trash. You do get the recovery, so it does help potentially against an OTK. And here they're kind of thinking about what they do. We know they don't have a Jesmon in hand. 1's in trash, 2 are on the bottom of the deck, and we haven't seen all the security, but it's still a lot of deck to go. So they do decide to swing in. Since they do have a Sistermon, they will kill the Bokomon, probably doing that just so they could also get the body on board and delete the Pokemon. Here they will go ahead and suspend the TK Kari, or the Kari, to stop their opponent from gaining the memory. or to stop their opponent from being able to continue their turns. This does put them at 1, and it gains them the 2 memory. It looks like they had a little bit of confusion there, but they did still do it. This will put the yellow player to 7 memory because of the 2 TK Karis, and they do have their memory TK. This is just one of the examples how strong Kari is, basically ending the turn a little bit earlier before they could be able to set up anything. They were already going to go to 7, so it would have been nice to go ahead and play that Blanc from hand to have a blocker, but without that extra memory that Kari was able to neglect the opponent, they weren't able to continue their turn, passing them back over. And here we see that they will go ahead swing over the Savior Huckmon since they don't have a blocker, since Blanc Awaken does not give the blocker to the Sistermon, that is just regular Blanc. They will suspend the 2 TK Karis, giving it a little bit less DP and swinging over the Savior with the Jet Sylphie, and then digivolving into the Dynasmon, grabbing a Kazemon and a Jet Sylphimon, I believe. So here the yellow player has a little bit more room to work with. You can see they have the Bokomon in hand, 2 Bokomon in fact, and they do have another TK Kari in hand, but instead they decide to go ahead, digivolve into the Zephyrmon, maybe just to have another body on field, and then hard play the TK Kari, basically guaranteeing that they're going to go up to 9 on the following turn, which is just super strong, being able to basically threaten lethal if they have enough hybrids in hand. So here it looks like the red player is still missing out on the Jesmon, but they do have the Savior up and raising. One thing I think that the red player should have done is swing in with the Blanc to get the recovery effect, or the on-deletion effect, to get the Jesmon back out of the trash if there's no chance that they're going to be able to find it. And it also puts the Blanc in trash for follow-up plays, maybe to get that little bit extra recovery if you need that extra little bit of protection. But here they will just go ahead and go all the way up into the Savior, not swinging with the Blanc, leaving the body on board. They were already going to go to 9, so I kind of feel like they probably should have just gone ahead and either swung into security to get some chip off and possibly get the on-deletion effect of the Blanc, or just swing into the Dynasmon to get the recovery effect. But here, we'll see that the yellow player at 9 will play the Bokomon. I believe they do whiff the search, and I guess they're looking at security, maybe thinking maybe they have the Susanomon in hand. So the Dynasmon swings in, does in fact live. The Zephyr swings in, dies to security, not really worried about that. The Digivolve the TK into a Kazemon, keeping the memory at the same effectively, digivolving to a Gazemon in the back, swinging in, dying to the security check, digivolving the Kazemon on top of one of the TK Karis, swinging in, it does in fact live this time. Here we will have another Zephyrmon. They do in fact get the memory gain right there that they had missed before, swinging in, living again to a Greymon, and here they will digivolve into the Jet Sylphimon, get a little bit more recovery. Now they're at 4 security, and then they will just decide to go ahead, digivolve into the Sukuyamon, basically sealing the deal with this Savior not having any security checks. Even if you are going into the Jesmon, you're not going to be able to take out any security at this point. So here a line of play that you could possibly see doing is the Sistermon could crash into the Kazemon, grabbing back the Jesmon, digivolving the Jesmon on top of the Savior, attacking through one of the Megas, restanding after playing another Sistermon, popping the Bokomon, and then swinging through the Dynasmon. That basically clears the board. If you replay the Sistermon Blanc, you do get the recovery, and then you can play another Sistermon off the second swing, giving you a blocker, another blocker, a recover, and clearing out the entire board. You will have the Gazemon, so if they do have 2 hybrids, you're still in trouble, but this is pretty much the best play you can do. Unless you have another Sistermon in hand, you could technically play out another Sistermon from your hand, and then you'll have 3 blockers, recover to their 3 attacks. So here it looks like they're looking through, seeing what they're going to do. The Savior does swing in, deleting the Boko off of the effect. Here the Jesmon player does forget that the Savior does have the negative security attack from the Sakuya, swinging in the Sistermon, taking out the Kazemon, but instead of taking out a Jesmon or another thing, they just go ahead and take out the Sistermon. Now at this point, since there's no point to grab the Jesmon because the Bauhuck has already swung, they just grab another Sistermon Blanc, swing in, and they do decide to go ahead, ask the player if they have the yellow hybrid, they show the yellow hybrid, and it pretty much seals the deal on the game. They had more than enough swings to deal with the 2 blockers on board. But anyway, guys, that'll be the yellow hybrid taking it 2-0, showing you that sometimes the DP gain that in a lot of matchups doesn't really matter can in fact come up, and then also showing you that try to remember that Sistermon Blanc Awakened can take your Jesmon back from the trash. It could have actually helped in quite a few situations at the end of that game, in both Game 1 and Game 2. Other than that, guys, thank you so much for watching to the end of the video. If you did enjoy the content, be sure to like, subscribe to the channel. We will have more Digimon content, such as gameplay videos and some deck profiles. I'm also going to have another ruling video coming up soon. I know a lot of people have been enjoying the ruling content video that I posted before. We will have more of those. I feel like it's very important for more players to know about those. But until next time, guys, be sure to, like I said, like the video, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you have any other questions or any comments that you'd like to let us know about. And until next time, have a good one.